Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our TCM webinar by LAMP. Let's welcome you, certified acupuncturist from Quezon Province for the first presentation. Good afternoon, Ma'am Needs.
Good afternoon, Doc Hector, and good afternoon, everyone. Topic for today is TCM basic principles about blood. Okay. So, basic formation of blood. There are two separate cycles of blood formation in the body. Post-heaven Qi cycle uses foods and fluids, or the good Qi, to form blood, and pre-heaven cycle uses Yuan Qi and kidneys to produce marrow, which produces blood. The blood is circulated by the heart and stored by the liver. Okay? So here is the map of the creation of blood. Post-heaven source of blood from the food and liquid goes to the stomach and the spleen. From spleen, blood is created. Gucci acts on the fluids, and the pre-heaven source of blood, kidney produces marrow. Yuanqi acts on kidney and marrow, and goes to where is also combined, where is blood created. And from blood creation of the blood, there is heart circulates the blood and the liver stores the blood. Okay? So, yun po. So, function of blood in the body, moistens and provides nourishment to organs, bones, muscles, tendons, and skin. With Qi, it provides foundation for mental activity. Okay? So, blood disharmonies with sign and symptoms. Dito po sa yung pattern sa first line, and then the signs and the description of the tongue and the pulse. Okay? Sa pattern ng heart, liver, and or spleen, blood deficiency, ang sign po ay may fatigue, may palpitations, may numbness, may dizziness, and mayroong blurred vision. Kapag tiningnan mo yung tongue ay pale with thin coating. Okay? And yun namang pulse ay thin. Okay? Let's go to liver, large intestine, stomach, blood stagnation. There is pain fixed in location, there is dull complexion, and then meron petechiae. Kapag yung tiningnan mo yung tongue ay purple and or may purple spots. Kapag pinalpate mo ang pulse, it is deep, it is choppy, and maybe a little wiry. Okay? Sa heat in the blood naman, there is reckless bleeding, like hemorrhage, bleeding between cycles. May restlessness and may irritability. Pag tiningnan mo yung tongue, it is deep red tongue and yung pulse ay rapid. Okay? So, blood stasis and TCM, symptoms niyan, yung purple tongue, kanina sinabi natin, may fixed stabbing pain, yung lips ay purple, yung nails ay purple din, and usually may piercing headache. Okay. So, yun. Liver blood deficiency naman sa TCM, mayroong numbness and tingling sa mga kamay, may blurred vision or floaters, and may pale purplish nails. Okay? So, yung blood stasis, yung pattern ng blood stasis could be caused by Qi deficiency kasi it fails to, ano ba yun? Blood stasis Qi deficiency, pwedeng blood deficiency, pwedeng yin deficiency, pwedeng traumatic injury, pwedeng dampness and phlegm, pwedeng blood heat, and pwedeng exogenous or interior cold. Yun yung causes ng blood stasis. Okay, basahin na lang po natin. Thank you very much for your attention, everyone. I hope you learn.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Needs. We proceed to body fluids to be presented by Ma'am Teresita Sumile. Good afternoon po, Ma'am Teresita.
Good afternoon po, Dr. Hector and classmates. TCM basic principles, body fluids. Body fluids called Yin Yang in Chinese, composed of two characters, Jin, meaning moist or saliva, and Ye, meaning fluid. Jin indicates anything that is liquid, while Ye indicates fluid of living organisms, those found in fruit, translated as organic fluids. Body fluids originate from food and drink. It is transformed and separated by spleen. Some clean fluids then go up from spleen to lungs, which spread from them to skin and send some of them down to kidneys. From spleen, some dirty fluids go down to small intestine where they are separated again, this time into pure and impure. So this is how, so from the food, it goes to the stomach, and then when the food is already rotten, the spleen will transform it and then into gucci, transport to the lungs. And then the lungs will diffuse and then to the skin and the muscles. Then from the lungs, it descends to the kidneys, then to the bladder, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, this is pala origin from transformation and excretion of body fluids according to Chinese medicine. So the food goes to the stomach, and then the spleen will transform it into gucci, and then the pure will go to the lungs, and then the lungs diffuse it to the skin and muscles. And then the lungs will descend into the kidneys, and then the kidneys, from the kidneys to the bladder, and then the impure will go to the urine, and then the pure will go to the lower burner, the drainage, and then into the upper burner, and then goes back to the skin. I'm sorry po. Doc Heck, will you please help me? Okay.
Okay, let's take a look at the origin, transformation, and excretion of body fluids according to Chinese medicine. So if you look at the left side, we have the food. So this is the origin, the food and drinks. So at the stomach, the spleen will have to transform it into pure and impure. So the pure part will have to go to the lungs. And in the lungs, from the lungs, this pure chi will be diffused to the skin and muscles. So remember that the lung is a descending function. So this will descend the pure chi to the kidneys. And from the kidneys, it will go to the bladder. And again, in the bladder, you will have the kidneys, there will be a separation further. No? So there will be steam. And in the pure part will have to go to the lungs to moisten it. And then the impure will proceed to the bladder. And further in the bladder, it will be separated into pure and impure. So the pure will have to go to the lungs once again via the triple burner, okay, to the skin and muscles rather. So it's from, so if when it reaches the bladder, there will be further separation of the pure from impure. So the pure will have to go up because pure is lighter, the impure is denser. So the impure will have to come out as urine. So the pure will have to rise up, to ascend via the lower burner, which is called the drainage ditch, the middle burner, the maceration chamber, then to the upper burner, the mist, to be sent to the skin and muscles. So going back to the spleen and stomach, the spleen will separate the pure from impure. So the impure will further go to the small intestine to be further separated into pure and impure. So the pure will have to go to the urine to be further separated into pure and impure. While the impure, of course, when you talk about the impure in the small intestine, you will be talking about the solid waste, no? So from the large intestine, some will have to be reabsorbed. Whatever is reabsorbed will have to be brought to the bladder. And so this time we have the feces as the solid waste.
Thank you po, Dr. Hector. Now let's continue. Following this second separation, pure fluids go to the bladder, impure fluids go to the large intestine, where some water is reabsorbed. Bladder further transforms and separates fluids. It receives into pure and impure. Pure fluids flow upwards, go to exterior of body where they form sweat. Impure fluids flow downwards and are transformed into urine. Bladder affects this transformation and separation from power of Qi, which it receives from kidney Yang. This function of bladder is called function of Qi transformation. Fluids enter stomach and are separated. Pure part flows upwards from spleen to lungs, which direct them to water passages, and then downwards to bladder. Process of formation of body fluids is the result of intricate series of purification processes, each stage further separating fluids into pure and impure part. Pure fluids need to be transported upwards, impure fluids downwards. Correct movement of pure and impure fluids depends on correct ascending, descending, and entering, exiting of Qi essential to their proper transformation. Okay? Organs that contribute to transformation, transportation, excretion of body fluids are the lungs, spleen, and kidneys. Pure fluids flow upwards to lungs, which distribute some to space under skin, some downwards to kidneys. For this reason, lungs are called upper source of water. Impure fluids flow downwards to small intestine and bladder, which carries out further separation and transformation. Bladder function of Qi transformation is controlled by kidney Yang, hence kidneys are lower source of water.
So actually this one is just a schema or the flow chart which you have just discussed, no? So I think we will leave this to the students to take a look later on.
Yes, Pedro. Thank you so much, Dr. Hector. Thank you so much, classmates, for listening.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Teresita. We now listen to Sir Dino Pinero, straight from Legazpi, to present the topic of yin and yang, the duality of all things. Good afternoon, Sir Dino.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon po sa lahat. Topic natin is Yin and Yang, the duality of all things. Okay, Yin and Yang, the quality and the unity of opposites. So first, the meaning of Yin and Yang symbol. There is duality in everything. Dito sa Yang, we have the male energy. Kumpara sa Yin, we have the female energy. Sa Yang is active, while the Yin naman is passive. Sa Yang, we have the light, while dito muna sa Yang, male energy, active, and we have light. Next, we have dominating. It is strong. We have movement, hot, and expanding. Kumpara sa Yin, we have the female energy, passive siya, intuitive, creative, dark, stillness, cold, and contracting. Yung outer circle represent the universe and everything in it. While the smaller circle, ito pong nasa loob, represents that everything carries the seed of its opposite. Okay. Sa Yin, compared po sa Yang, sa Yin we have cold and sa Yang hot. Sa Yin we have passive, active naman sa Yang. Ang Yin is wet while the Yang is dry, which is pwedeng Yin deficient. Yung Yin is represent ng night while yung Yang is day. Yung Yin is solid, hollow naman sa Yang. Yung Yin is also dull while sa Yang we have bright and severe. While sa Yin, constant, and the Yang is changing. Sa Yin, we have the descending, baba, kumpara naman sa Yang, which is pataas, ascending. Yung Yin is contracting, pasok, paloob, while the Yang naman is dispersing, palabas. Yung Yin is nutrition, while the Yang is protection. Ang Yin is the substance, while the Yang naman is the function. Okay, here sa picture, yung Yang natin dito is the sun. Kumpara naman sa Yin, we have the moon. Yung Yang is fire, while the Yin is water. Yung Yang is going upward, while naman yung Yin is pababa, dry, and the Yin is wet. Day sa Yang and night naman sa Yin. Ang Yang is summer, while winter naman sa Yin. So yung Yang dito sa symbol, we have the light, while the Yin is dark. Sa Yin and Yang naman, one extreme will always change into its opposite, so that the extreme Yang turns into Yin and vice versa. So paikot lang po. Ang Yin and Yang consumes and support each other and are usually held in balance. As one increases, the other decreases. The concept of Yin and Yang originates in ancient Chinese philosophy and metaphysics, which describes two primal opposing but complementary forces found in all things in the universe. Yin, the darker element, is passive, dark, feminine, downward-seeking, and corresponds to the night. Yang, the brighter element, is active, light, masculine, upward-seeking, and corresponds to the day. Yin and Yang are complementary opposites rather than absolutes. Most forces in nature can be broken down into its respective yin and yang states. And the two are usually in movement rather than held in absolute stasis. So gumagalaw po siya. So we have more pictures with sample. Ang yin, an example is heavy while yung yang is light. Ang yin naman sa next picture is the front while yung yang is the back. Yung next picture naman, yung yang is light, yung ilaw, while ang yin is dark. Next, yung yin is water and yung yang naman is fire. Next picture, we have the yang, yung white, and yung black naman yung yin. Ang next, yung yin is moon and the yang is sun. Dito sa may baba, next picture, yung yang is masculine while the yin is feminine. Next naman is yung yang is hot while the yin is cold. Next picture, yung yin is down while the yang is up. The clinical symptoms according to Yin and Yang for differential diagnosis. So, ang yin is cold, kumpara naman sa yang which is heat. Ang yin, feeling cold, symptoms of disease worsen with cold and improves with heat. Pale or blue complexion, while kumpara naman sa yang, ang symptoms niya is having inflammation, feeling hot, symptoms of disease worsen with heat and improves with cold. And meron siyang red complexion. Next ang yin is passive while the yang is active. Next, sa yin, hypoactive organ, example, bradycardia, dull, introverted person, and symptoms worsen during rest and improving during activity. So yan ang yin. While sa yang, hyperactive ang organ, example yung tachycardia, restless, extroverted person, and yung symptoms worsen during activity and improving during rest. Next sa yin, it is wet while the yang is dry. Ang yin, example yung edema, mucus, excess fluid, symptoms that worsen in humid weather and improves in dry weather. While sa yang, yung deficient yin, there is dryness of skin, hair, mucous membranes. May brittleness of nails, tendon, and bones. And yung symptoms worsen in dry weather and improve in humid weather. Ang yin naman is night while the yang is day. Ang yin, symptoms that starts in the evening and worsen through the night and are better in the daytime. While kumpara sa yang, symptoms that starts in the morning and worsen up to noon, then improves in the evening. Ang yin is descending while the yang is ascending. Sa yin, symptoms that manifest initially in the lower body, example yung perineum, or limbs like the legs and feet, example meron siyang edema, joint pain, etc. While sa yang, symptoms that manifest initially in the highest part of the body, example nito yung head and neck, or yung limbs, yung arms and hands. Example, hot flashes, neck tension, headache, etc. Yung yin is contracting while the yang is dispersing. Sa yin, may movement from outward to inward. May climatic factors causing internal symptoms such as joint pain and arthritis in cold weather. There is cramp, may muscle tension in cold weather, and meron siyang contracted or hunched appearance. Kumpara naman sa Yang, may movement from inward to outward. Example, yung sweating. Meron din siyang extension or arcing back opistotonus. Meron siyang interior causes showing external symptoms like urticaria after eating shellfish. Sa Yin, nutrition, while the Yang is protection. Ang Yin, nutritional state of tissue, meron siyang thin, fragile skin. Yung Lang Yin, pababa or konti, thick and oily skin. Yung Lang Yin naman, pataas. Sa Yang, there is immune system recurrent infection. Worse, if climate is often changing, as a respiratory infection, this would mean that protection is poor. Sa Yin, we have the substance, and the Yang is for function. Sa Yin, thickness of hair, skin, body weight, quantity of food, mucus, stool, urine, anything that could be quantified. An example nito is increased mucus, Lang Yin, increase head hair, and kidney Yin deficiency, pababa. Sa Yang, there is hyper or hypofunction of organs. There is frequent and urgent stool, large intestine function, pataas or increase, and decreased urination and edema, kidney function is decreased. Okay. So next. So according to this categorization, the patient could be diagnosed to have a Yin dominant or Yang dominant disease. Sa Yin, if one wakes from sleep at night with a bad headache, this would be a Yin dominant headache. Kumpara naman sa Yang, a backache that worsens when being active and improves when lying still in bed is a Yang dominant backache. Sa Yin, less urination and a full bladder, as in hypertrophy of the prostate gland, is a Yin dominant state with a poor function of the bladder. Sa Yang naman, excessive stress and insufficient sleep could produce a Yang dominant tachycardia. Sa Yin, osteoarthritis of the hip joint with pain at rest and morning stiffness that improves slowly over the day is a Yin dominant condition. While sa Yang, there is hip pain which is better during and after rest and worsen when waking and being active. This would be a Yang dominant pain. Sa Yin, there is cough and asthmatic breathing worsening at night and in damp cold weather. With excessive frothy, white mucus is a Yin dominant disease. While sa Yang, a typical seasonal asthma with dry cough and bronchospasm worse on exposure to pollen or animals is Yang dominant in nature. Thank you po for listening.
Thank you very much, Sir Dino. We continue with the 5 elements. And we are now on part 5. Let's talk about the pathologic cycles. First, we have the Cheng cycle or the overacting cycle. This is imbalance within the controlling cycle, where the grandmother element provides too much control over the grandchild and it weakens the element. Within nature, you may see water putting out fire, earth soaking up water. So clinical example, liver overacting on the spleen, Overactive wood element over controlling the earth, leading to disruptions in the digestive system. Another pathologic pattern is the insulting or Wu cycle. This is imbalance within the controlling cycle also, where the grandchild insults or returns controlling force generated by grandmother. Examples: fire burning up water, water washing away the earth. Clinically, these cases where people have long-term psychological problems, fire, which eventually affect the kidney water, as seen in the development of more yin water deficiency signs. The 5-element theory generating sequence shows how balance is achieved in nature and how every element is connected and depends on each other for balance. So we need wood to grow fire. The heat or the sun helps grow food and plants. The earth grows soil full of minerals. Metal or minerals will enrich the water with iron, magnesium, and potassium. Water provides growth for trees and plants to flourish. So here is a very beautiful diagram showing the Cheng cycle. Okay, so water grows wood, wood generates fire, fire or heat or sun is needed to grow earth or food. The earth provides the soil, high in minerals, while the metal enriches water. Within our bodies, each system depends on each other in order to stay healthy and reach optimum health. This is what we call homeostasis. The liver relaxes the body for better flow and to manage stress. So if you don't have time to relax, all you think about is your work and you worry, and you probably have a very stressful lifestyle, then expect issues, no? The heart will provide calm mind for better sleep. So for those who are unable to sleep well, you need to take a look at your heart. The spleen transforms nutrients for better digestion. So if you have so many digestive problems, then you may want to look at your spleen. The lung defends the body for healthy immune system. So to protect yourself from this pandemic, you have to really take good care of your lungs. And the kidney holds our DNA for healthy reproduction and growth. So take care of your kidneys. If one is out of balance, it can trigger a chain reaction. So when a woman is experiencing high stress levels, she may be anxious and cannot sleep, which affects her choice of food to keep her energy up during the day. So she would want to drink coffee, eat sugar or junk food. Her diet doesn't feed her immune system, and she will catch colds and flus more often. If trying to conceive, she may experience difficulties because low immune function can result in early pregnancy loss. Miscarriages will put a lot of physical stress on the body and mind, obviously. So this will make her frustrated and really angry. So when you treat patients, it's key to figure out which element was affected first to make the proper treatment plan and address the root. Okay, so here is a very classic example of a person whose elements are out of balance. So let's start off with somebody with depleted immune function. So if you have a very weak immune function, then definitely you'll have fertility issues. And when you have miscarriages, this can give you stress. And when you are stressed, you will have insomnia. And insomnia, you're still awake during the night. It will lead to cravings due to fatigue, okay? And the bad diet will lead to a poor immune system. So the vicious circle will continue. Thank you very much for listening. Let us now listen to Mom Mom Needs You of Quezon Province. I'm sorry, Mom Teresita Sumile for Types of Chi. Good afternoon again, Mom Teresita.
Good afternoon po, Dr. Hector and classmates. Types of Qi. Now we have here Qi stagnation. Qi stagnation is caused by emotions, phlegm, food, body fluids, or blood stagnation. So Symptoms po are distension, fullness, pressure pain, water retention, phlegm accumulation. And points used recommended here is liver 3 and gallbladder 34. Next. So here, it is illustrated where the liver 3 and gallbladder 34 is located. Next. Now let's go to liver, lung, and stomach chi rebelling. Chi rebelling emotions, cold dampness, phlegm accumulation. Now, in lung chi rebelling, symptoms are cough, stuffiness in the chest. In stomach chi rebelling, symptoms are nausea, vomiting, hiccup, and acid reflux. In liver chi rebelling, there is headache, red face, red eyes, anger, PC6, point to use here is PC6, REN 17, and liver 2. So here it is illustrated naman kung saan makikita ang REN 17, liver 2, and PC6. Now let's go to spleen chi sinking. Spleen chi is already deficient, bearing down sensation in lower abdomen, lower back pain, frequent feeling of urinating or passing stools, short of breath, fatigue, weak pulse, and prolapse of organs. So, makatulong po dito ang spleen 6, REN 6, and DO 20. So, dito pinakita na naman ang point location of spleen 6, DO 20, and REN 6. Okay? Next po. Now, original chi or excuse me po. Original chi or yuan chi, closely related to essence. Essence in form of chi, essence transformed into chi, then dynamic and rarefied form of essence having its origin in kidneys. It includes original yin or yuan yin and original yang. This means that original chi is foundation of all yin and yang energies of the body. And original chi, like essence, relies on nourishment from post-heaven essence. Okay? Now, let's go to the original chi functions. It is the motive force. It is the basis of kidney chi. It facilitates the transformation of chi. It is the conduit for the triple burner. It facilitates the transformation of blood, and it comes out at the source points. Okay, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Teresita. We continue with Zhangfu organs, and let's listen to certified acupuncturist, Ma'am Neets Yu. Good afternoon po, Ma'am Neets.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, Doc Hector. Okay. Hope will not rain. Medyo bukulog-kulog. So, our topic for today is kidney pa rin, relationships of the kidney. Okay? Kidney and heart. Kidney and heart represent yin and yang. Heart is located in upper burner, while the kidneys are in the lower burner. Okay? Physiologically, heart connects with lower burner through kidneys. Kidneys connect with upper burner through the heart. The two organs are interdependent and counterbalance each other. Okay? Kidneys send water or yin to the heart to cool heart fire or yang. Heart sends fire or yang to kidneys to warm the kidneys water or yin. Okay? Kidney yin is very important for yin in entire body. Heart requires kidney yin to be able to house the spirit. Okay? Because kidneys have more yin and little yang, and heart has more yang and little yin, interaction of heart and kidney is important to root the spirit. Okay? Kidney and liver. Kidneys store essence, liver stores blood. So remember, liver and kidneys are intimately connected, have manifold connections through channels, mutually engendering and counterbalancing. Okay? In aspect of essence for entire yin and therefore for entire blood in the body. Kidney essence nourishes the liver, liver blood nourishes the kidney essence. Okay? If yin aspect of kidney essence is weak, liver blood will be affected as well. So magkakaroon ng liver blood deficiency. Okay? Kidney and lungs. Lungs are governor of qi. Kidneys are the root of qi. Lungs control breathing and govern qi of the whole body. Remember, lung qi must be combined with essential qi of kidneys to produce true qi. So, yan. Basahin na lang po natin yung diagram. Okay. Kidneys must be able to absorb qi, then downwards by the lungs. If kidney yang is too weak to absorb qi, it will rebel and stagnate in lungs. Okay. If lungs are too weak to send qi downwards, ang function po ng lungs ay pababa. So, kidneys are weakened. Okay. Kakaroon ng CKD. Okay. Ito naman tayo sa kidney and spleen. Kidneys are source of congenital essence. Spleen is source of acquired essence. Okay? Acquired essence of the spleen is needed and used to nourish body and spirit. Surplus of acquired essence is sent to kidneys in order to replenish and supplement congenital essence. Okay? Kidney yang, the life gate fire, provides motive force in the digestive process. It influences the stomach and spleen in its function of transformation and transportation. T and T. Okay. Insufficiency of kidney yang leads to impairment of digestive function. Okay. Apektuhan yung mingmen. Let's go to kidney and small intestine. Small intestine requires kidney yang to maintain its functions. Okay. Kidney and the gallbladder. Kidneys govern willpower. The willpower relies on ability to make decisions which is governed by gallbladder. So, yan. Kapag undecisive, ibig sabihin may problema yung gallbladder. Thank you everyone for your attention.
Thank you very much, Ma'am Neets. We now proceed to meridian or channel theory. Let's listen to Sardino, straight from Legazpi. Once again, good afternoon, Sardino.
Good afternoon, Doc. Good afternoon sa lahat. Okay, we have yung tie-in lung channel day 3. So, palpating the channel, pressing the points, and feeling the body surface. Sa lung 1, kung meron po tayong napalpate na tenderness, this generally indicates an acute condition in the lung organ. Usually, meron pong cold or cough. If soft nodules are palpated in this area, the lung qi is stagnant. So parang may namuo pong nodules, often due to chronic disease or blood stasis. So kumpara dun sa tenderness na napalpate, this is an acute condition. Ang formation ng nodule is chronic naman. In cases of general qi stagnation in the body, this front alarm point may be quite tender na kahit without nodules. There may also be a relative deep nodules in lung 1 in a patient who has recovered from a rather serious lung problem in the past. This represent the physical memory of that disease. So, pwede rin, pag palpate mo, may relative deep nodule, ibig sabihin, in the past, nagkaroon po ng lung condition, serious lung problem na ito, nag-signify lang yung nodules na may lung problem in the past. Changes are often palpated naman sa may lung 5. There is a soft, slightly puffy tenderness in the area, indicative of a relatively mild systemic Qi stagnation. Many patients react to the general stressors of modern life with changes at this point, and regulation of Yin is often a necessary first step when treating such patient. Pain with light pressure, so pagdiin, indicates acute inflammatory disease. While nodules, pag napalpate ang nodules, indicate naman a chronic issue. The harder the nodule, the more likely it is that there is actual physical changes in the lung organ or respiratory tract. So, i-compare po natin kung soft lang yung nodule or mas lalo po siyang mas matigas. So, this would tell us na there is a physical changes dun sa lung organ or sa respiratory tract. Hard nodules or pain around lung 5 are often seen in chronic asthma patient where compromise in Qi dynamic of the lung organ is the root cause. So, palpate natin yung lung 5, check natin yung hard nodules kung meron sa mga asthmatic patient. This type of asthma is often characterized by relatively severe inflammation of the bronchioles. Okay? There will often be a large area or hardening or deep nodules around lung 6 naman. In the case of chronic disease in the lung organ or a memory of lung disease from the past. So, pwede rin natin check yung lung 6. For long-standing lung condition, the area may also be slightly darker than the surrounding skin. Pwede po natin check din yung coloration ng skin. On the other hand, if the area is slightly reddish, mapula po, this indicates a more acute condition, often involving heat. So, reddish coloration, it is an acute condition which involves heat. Slight raised papules indicate more heat, possibly toxic heat naman. So, more heat pag may raised papules. Severe tenderness may indicate lung heat and is seen sometimes in pneumonia naman. Sa lung 7 and the area proximal to this point are also important. Relatively shallow nodules generally indicate external condition affecting the throat or lungs. So lung 7 for the throat and lungs, check natin. Hardness, inflexibility, and or pain in the skin around the point are often seen in chronic tracheitis or ingrowth in the trachea. If the area is very painful with sensation that the skin has adhered to the fascia below, this can be an indicative of thyroid problems. Classically, this could be seen as a problem with circulation in the collaterals of the lung channel. And explanation sometimes used by Chinese doctors when describing goiter. Most often changes of this type are found when there is also noticeable enlargement of the actual thyroid gland in the patient. So, pwede natin i-check kung may actual enlargement dun sa thyroid gland. Remember that changes observed at the collateral points are not only indicative of pathology in the paired yin or yang channel, but may instead indicate a pathodynamic associated with any of the small collaterals or cross circulation along the path of the palpated channel. Hardening or inflexibility of the skin in the area between lung 8 and lung 9 is often seen in lung qi deficiency. So, pag may napalpate tayo na hardening or inflexibility sa area ng lung, between lung 8 and lung 9, pwede natin ma-assess as lung qi deficiency. There may even be a sensation that the skin is attached to the bone as well, which also indicates chronic lung condition. So kung matagal na po yung sakit sa lung, pag pinalpate po natin yung lung, between lung 8 and lung 9, there could be a presence of hardening or inflexibility ng skin sa area. Yung bladder 13, while not a lung channel point, is the back associated point of the lung. So back shoe point po siya ng lung. Tenderness in the area represent an acute condition, and the sense of weakness or dry skin represent a chronic or deficient condition. So check po natin kung merong sense of weakness or yung dryness sa skin. So this represents a chronic or deficient condition. Actual nodules are indicative of more chronic conditions. So kung may nodules tayong nakita sa bladder 13, more chronic na po yung condition. In summary, points that most often exhibit change are lung 9, lung 6, lung 5, and lung 1. The most common point pairs used in treating condition involving the lung are lung 9 and spleen 3, lung 5 and spleen 9. Yung lung 5 and spleen 9 combination, pareho siya na Hesse point, is used to regulate the channel. It is often used as a first-line treatment of generalized qi stagnation. By contrast, yung pair naman ng lung 9 and spleen 3, both source point naman ito and is used to strengthen when there is a deficiency of Tai-Yin Qi dynamic. So, lung 9, spleen 3 to strengthen yung deficiency. While these are the two most common pairs, there are many other points used for treating the commonly seen case of lung disharmony. So, tandaan po natin, pair combination, lung 9, spleen 3, lung 5, spleen 9. So here, meron tayong pictures. Sa tenderness, there is problem in the thyroid or trachea area. Okay, may mga symbol, yung shallow nodules, external condition affecting the throat and lungs. And yung hard nodules, more chronic issue affecting upper respiratory tract and trachea. Yung sensation that the skin is attached to the bone, most often felt in the thyroid condition. And yung pain, more inflammation and heat in the upper lung system. So, pag yan po naramdaman dito sa mga area ng mga points, ito po yung mga symbol. Sa like soft nodules, there is qi stasis affecting the lung. Tenderness, acute condition affecting or about to affect the lung. Yung deep nodules, blood stasis, chronic lung condition. Pag swollen, slightly raised naman, there is generalized qi stagnation in the body. Pag pain, meaning there could be an acute inflammation. Pag hard nodules, there could be changes in the lung organ due to chronic condition. So here also sa kabilang picture, hardness, there could be a lung qi deficiency sensation. Next sensation that the skin is attached to the bone, the same yung chronic lung condition. And if there is darkness, yung changes ng skin coloration, there is chronic lung issue or weak lungs. Pag redness, there is acute heat condition. Pag presence of papules, there is toxic heat affecting the lung. Pag generalized thickening of fascia, there is chronic lung issue or weak lungs. Pag deep nodules, memory of serious lung issue in the past. So, yun po. Hanggang doon lang po. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Sir Dino. Tuloy-tuloy tayo sa last but not the least topic, still on bleeding. We will continue where we left off last time, blood in the urine. Another pattern is deficient spleen not controlling blood. So clinical manifestations, we have chronic bleeding in the urine, tiredness, pale face, no appetite, dizziness, tinnitus, lower backache, and depression. Tongue is pale, pulse is weak. Treatment principle, tonify the spleen and kidneys to control blood and stop bleeding. The points are manipulated using the reinforcing method, and we can also do moxa. Stomach 36, spleen 6, Ren 12, bladder 20, and bladder 21 are used to tonify the stomach and spleen. Ren 6 consolidates qi in the lower abdomen to stop bleeding. Spleen 10 is very effective for stopping bleeding. Bladder 63 stops bleeding from the bladder channel. Bladder 23 and bladder 28 strengthen the kidneys and bladder to stop bleeding. And do 20 with direct moxa will raise the qi. Another pattern is kidney qi not firm. So there is chronic bleeding in the urine with pale blood, dizziness, tinnitus, exhaustion, depression, and sore back. Tongue is pale and swollen, pulse is weak. Treatment principle, tonify kidney yang, stop bleeding. Points are manipulated using reinforcing method. Moxa may be used. Bladder 23, bladder 28, and bladder 20 will tonify the kidneys, bladder, and spleen. Tonifying the spleen actually helps to hold blood. Bladder 17 and spleen 10 will stop bleeding. Kidney 3 with moxa tonifies kidney yang. Finally, we have qi and blood stagnation as a pattern for blood in the urine. Chronic blood in the urine, hypogastric pain before urination. So, sumasakit bago umihi. Small dark blood clots in the urine and irritability. Tongue is purple because it is blood stagnation. Pulse is choppy, wiry, or firm. Treatment principle, move the qi, invigorate blood, and stop bleeding. Points are needled using the even method. Lung 7 and kidney 6 regulate the directing vessel or the renmai and influence urination. Ren 3 and bladder 28 will regulate the bladder. Kidney 14 and spleen 10 invigorate blood, and bladder 63 stops urinary bleeding. Thank you very much for your attention, and good afternoon.